It is with profound sadness that we announce the passing of our beloved husband, father, brother, uncle, brother-in-law, and friend, Julian Worrell. He was a retired teacher of the Castries Comprehensive Secondary School and a part-time mathematics teacher who tutored hundreds of students over the years. He will be sadly missed by his loving and caring wife, Jeanette Sandra Worrell, employed with the St. Lucia Air and Seaports Authority. His only son, Darren Worrell, and his wife, Agner Edgerson, and her mother, Agnes Edgerson, both of the USA. Also left to mourn are his sisters, Miss Eulina Weeks of Independence City, Mrs. Edith Mackey and family of Leclerc, Mrs. Cynthia Charles of St. Croix, Mrs. Lucita Boxell and family of Idboutai, Mrs. Elizabeth Worrell Setage and family of Entrepot, Mrs. Angela St. Rose and family of Leclerc, Mrs. Teresa Duval, Alexander and family of Marisil, Mrs. Agnes Ashe and family in Florida, families of his deceased sisters, Mrs. Olive Gustave and Mrs. Joycelyn Stephen Worrell. Brothers, Mr. Raymond Worrell and family in England, Mr. Stephen Worrell and family of Marisil. Families of deceased brothers, Arthur Davis Worrell, Michael Worrell and Vernon Everard Weeks. Sisters-in-law, Miss Lyra Pascal, Miss Lorraine Pascal, Mrs. Barbara Pascal and her husband, Pastor Martin Blas and their family, Miss Catherine Pascal, Mrs. Ferrier Patsy Pascal Waith and her husband, Bernard Waith, and their family of Barbados, Miss Alison Pascal, brothers-in-law, Mr. Carlos Pascal and family, Mr. Marinus Pascal, his wife, Meredith Pascal and their family, Herbert Pascal and his wife, Margaret Pascal and their family of St. Croix and the USA, Conrad Pascal and his family of Texas, USA, his cherished friends, Mr. Cuthbert Anselm, Mr. Ernest Henry, Anthony Taylor, Mr. Jeremy Joseph, Owen Doxley, Clyde Vincent, Roy Dalsey, Luke Innocent, Fred Walcott, Gracian Bissett, also known as Nenen or Mabob of Waterworks Road, Kelvin, Gregory John, also known as Ted T, his devoted housekeepers, Clarita Alcid, Frederick. Other relatives include Mr. Eustace Castro and family of Balata, Ramona and Rosemary Jules and family of Dayfor, the John families of Oasaw, Gertrude Joseph and family of Mondador, Egner John and family of Jacksonville, Lister Joavel and family of Bardeny, many other relatives and friends residing in St. Lucia, Jamaica, the USA, England, Barbados, and Germany, too numerous to mention. The celebration service for the life of our beloved Julian Worrell will take place on Thursday, 13th November 2014 at the Temple of Faith Pentecostal Church at Otsa at 2 p.m. and his body will then be interred at the Shock Cemetery. The body will be laid for viewing from 1:15 p.m. at the church. Transportation will leave the Derek Walcott Square from 1:15 p.m. Relatives and friends are kindly asked to take note.